What are you doing, sick bro?
So, for those of you who are still confused about the Democratic Party, this is what it has become, right? So, you would have, let's say, people that, wish death upon the president, wish death upon conservatives because they disagree with them. And you do have, like, these miserable people that actually want those who disagree with them politically, or those who have a different perspective of them, they wish them to be dead, right? And I think it's like, I guess that's what they're into. Because then again, you have to realize, if you're into communism and all that stuff, right? So that tend to create a lot of death cult, right? These communist regions or governments has, had to amass like millions upon millions of dead people in order for them to pursue their agenda, which is, misery for all. And now you have, let's say, this guy right here says that anyone exhausted waiting for Donald Trump to drop Stone Cold and dead. It's like, and this is the difference between when, let's say, conservatives are memeing versus when liberals are memeing, right? Conservatives are memeing, like, they would just say drop shit on you. They would like, let's say, make fun of your culture and shit like that, right? But them, it's more like, I want you to die. It's like, whoa, nigga, like, it's not that serious. But it comes from, like, these people are miserable, right? They are already dead inside. And they really hope that, like, they get the enjoyment out of seeing harm done to other people, all the while masking, wearing a mask of sympathy. Like, see, I'm a good person. I only want the bad guy to die. So then, if, let's say, and that's why, like, they put the label on you in order for them to, justify why they want you dead or advocate for you to die, right? Or, push that propaganda and hoping someone would actually do what they wish upon you. And they first have to demonize you. They first have to, make you appear non-human, right? Like you just nothing. So then, therefore, if you are nothing, then it's justifiable to, take you out. That's why they celebrated when Charlie Kirk was, went up the other room, up the upper room, right? They celebrate that stuff, right? And that's the same reason why, when this candidate in Virginia, was actually wishing death on the kids of his political opponent, he was, still, like, in the race. He wasn't dropping out. People were still, all the politicians was still actually endorsing him. And, and like his political career wasn't like, kaput, because these folks, they want conservative to die. And that's why they call, they call conservatives like Nazis, Yahtzee and, white supremacists and all those like crazy labels. So then, therefore, and so you no longer appear human. So let's check out some of these comment section to check out to see what's going on, right? And then you have like, I awaken every morning hoping to read his obituary, right? And then, I keep checking the resource up on Awaken each morning. Sad to say up this morning, big disappointment. One morning there will be a big smile. Yeah, the funny thing about this, right? You would have that smile for probably about a day, but your problem's still gonna be there. You're still gonna be a miserable cunt at the end of the day, right? Because your enjoyment comes from the misery of other people. You want other people to die, all the while accusing the other party that they're the one that are the monsters, right? So it's like, easy dead yet? Oh man, oh so it's like a funny meme, like, a donkey with his head up his, that stuff. So yeah, you could see the difference between when, let's say, conservative memes versus let's say liberals meme, right? Conservative meme is like, okay, you got your head up your ass, right? Liberal meme is like, I want you to die. That's the difference. Anyway, like this idiot right here, right? It's like, once upon a time, the French had the real problem with the 1%. They solved it. Like so he's talking about the French Revolution, right? The French Revolution, that let's say you got rid of the quote unquote upper class and then create a whole chaos into the country, and guess what you had? You had a dictator afterward. You had Emperor Napoleon afterward. And I could have swear we had all these no king protests. They're like, what happened? It's like, this is how stupid these people are. They will be the type of people that's like, that will cut off their nose to spite their face. That's why, when they talk about like, we want communism, we want socialism, we want to tax the rich, we want to eat the rich, blah, blah. All these venomous attack towards the rich, not because they care about the poor, is because they hate the rich. They hate to actually see successful people, right? Are all successful people good people? Of course not. The same way that, a poor people, just because you're poor doesn't make you automatically virtuous, right? But they look at rich people from a place of envy, right? And a lot of them are well off, right? Because a lot of them are like, trust fund babies, freaking go to college for some BS degree and all that stuff, right? They are the disappointment of their fathers who've actually worked their ass off to actually be in a position of power, and they look at it as like, how can I compete with that? How can I have the type of drive that my father had, right? So then I could live comfortably and shit like that, right? That's still paying my bills. So fuck him. I hate him. He must have been successful because he's an evil person, right? So you have the rich liberals in that sense, right? So then when they go to college, they also indoctrinate a whole bunch of like, poor liberals, right? Or middle class liberals and all that stuff, right? That still have the same mentality of like, well, America is a place of imperialism, and that's why all these little countries are suffering because of American imperialism, right? So it's like you stretch out the truth in order to fit your agenda, but at the end of the day, it's all about envy. It's all about envy. It has nothing to do with helping the poor. It's all about hating the rich and hating successful people. Why the hell Trump is the most hated president from, like, the liberals, right? I mean, dude, like, Bush went to war, right? Create chaos in the Middle East, like a whole bunch of dumb stuff that he done. Yet, he doesn't get half, and I mean half, of the venom that they give to Trump. Meanwhile, this guy stopped like, 8 wars? The shit that you guys be bitching about Palestine, he bring peace to that, right? And like creating jobs, bringing back manufacturing to the country and all that stuff. Like, yet he's the most hated. Why is that? Because he's effective, because he's successful. That's it. Anyway, see, this is the difference between like me. Okay. So yeah, now you can get the difference. Actually, that one's kind of funny. But anyway, let me know down below what you guys think. Once again, I'm your host, The Haitian. So share, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm out of here. Peace.